They say space is full of mysteries, but the real secrets are hiding behind the scenes of one of the most legendary sci-fi films ever made. From million-dollar sets that spun like a Ferris wheel to a computer that sings as it dies, these are the bizarre, mind-blowing facts about 2001: A Space Odyssey that you were never meant to know. 1. The film almost opened with real scientists. Originally, Stanley Kubrick planned to start the film with a 10-minute black-and-white prologue featuring real scientists, philosophers, and experts discussing extraterrestrial life. This was meant to ground the story in actual scientific theories before diving into the cinematic experience. Notable scientists, including Freeman Dyson, were considered for interviews. Kubrick believed this would lend credibility to the film's science. However, during test screenings, he realized the prologue slowed the pacing and distracted from the mysterious visual storytelling he wanted. In the end, he scrapped the sequence entirely, opting to let the visuals and music do the talking. This decision reinforced the film's abstract nature, allowing audiences to interpret its meaning without being anchored by real-world commentary. 2. 241 people walked out at premiere. When 2001 premiered in 1968, many audience members, including celebrities, were completely baffled by its slow pacing and abstract visuals. Reports claimed that 241 people walked out during its New York premiere. Even actor Rock Hudson famously complained, "Will someone tell me what the hell this is about?" But Arthur C. Clarke, the film's co-writer, saw this as a positive sign. He famously remarked that if people understood the movie entirely on the first viewing, then he and Kubrick had failed. Over time, the very qualities that caused walkouts became the film's strengths, as younger audiences embraced its psychedelic sequences, philosophical themes, and groundbreaking visuals, turning it into one of the most celebrated films in cinematic history. 3. Barely 205 special effects shots. Unlike modern sci-fi films packed with thousands of CGI shots, 2001 relied on just 205 special effects shots, yet each was meticulously crafted. These scenes took an incredible 18 months to complete and consumed more than half of the film's overall production time. Kubrick's perfectionism meant that every effect, from the floating pen to the massive space stations, had to look absolutely believable. Many effects were done entirely in camera, using complex miniature work and precise lighting techniques. This painstaking approach not only kept the visuals grounded in reality, but also helped the film's imagery remain timeless. Even today, these effects hold up against modern digital work, a testament to Kubrick's obsessive attention to detail. 4. Half the budget went to effects. Out of the film's $10.5 million budget, nearly $5 million was spent on special effects alone, a staggering figure for the 1960s. Kubrick hired the best model makers, set designers, and optical effects experts in the business. One particularly creative method used for the Stargate sequence involved dropping colored dyes into a glass tank filled with chemicals, filming the reactions with high-speed cameras. These practical effects gave 2001 its otherworldly beauty without relying on computer technology, which didn't exist yet for filmmaking. Kubrick's willingness to dedicate such a huge portion of the budget to visuals demonstrated his belief that the look and feel of the film were just as important as the story itself. 5. Apes were mimed, not real. The Dawn of Man sequence features some of the most convincing ape performances ever put on screen. But no real apes were used. Instead, Kubrick hired professional mimes, led by performer Dan Richter, to play the prehistoric hominids. Richter spent months studying primate behavior at the London Zoo, observing everything from their gait to their eating habits. He then trained the rest of the cast to replicate these movements with uncanny accuracy. The costumes created by Stuart Freeborn were so realistic that some audience members initially believed they were watching real animals. This meticulous attention to performance and design helped make the opening sequence one of the most iconic in cinema history. 6. Imported and painted sand for Moon. For the moon landing scenes, Kubrick wanted every grain of sand to look perfect. Tons of sand were imported, washed, and then painted gray to match the exact shade of the lunar surface. The production team studied NASA photographs to ensure total accuracy. They even tested how footprints would appear in the sand under simulated low gravity. This attention to detail meant that when audiences first saw the scenes, many believed real moon footage was being used. Remember, the Apollo 11 landing hadn't even happened yet. The realism of the lunar sequences was so convincing that conspiracy theorists later claimed Kubrick had secretly filmed the actual moon landing for NASA, a rumor that persists to this day. 7. Rotating Ferris wheel set cost $750,000. To create the illusion of artificial gravity aboard the Discovery 1 spacecraft, Kubrick commissioned an enormous rotating set, essentially a giant Ferris wheel. Built by Vickers Armstrong, this set was 38 feet in diameter and cost a staggering $750,000 in 1960s money. The entire set rotated while the camera remained stationary, making it appear as if actors were walking in a continuous loop without the use of computer graphics. It remains one of the most ambitious practical sets ever built for a movie. 8. Triangular to iconic rectangular monolith. The monolith, one of cinema's most recognizable objects, wasn't always meant to be a simple black rectangle. Early designs were transparent and made of plexiglass, and at one point Kubrick even considered a tetrahedral, pyramidal-like shape. However, lighting issues and reflections made the transparent design impractical for filming. Eventually, the team opted for a sleek, matte black rectangular slab, inspired partly by the minimalist art movement. This final design added to the monolith's mysterious aura, making it feel alien yet strangely human. Its geometric perfection has since become a powerful cinematic symbol, inspiring countless homages and parodies in pop culture, from The Simpsons to Interstellar. 9. Stargate via slit scan photography. The mesmerizing Stargate sequence where astronaut David Bowman travels through surreal cosmic landscapes was achieved using slit scan photography, a labor-intensive technique invented by effects wizard Douglas Trumbull. A camera moved slowly toward backlit glass panels painted with intricate patterns, while the slit allowed only a narrow slice of light to pass through. Combining multiple exposures and moving artwork, the team created a hypnotic, infinite tunnel effect. This process took months, as each second of footage required hours of meticulous setup and filming. The result was a trippy, hallucinatory visual, unlike anything audiences had seen before, helping solidify 2001 as a favorite among the late 60s counterculture. 10. Kubrick voiced the astronaut breathing. The heavy, rhythmic breathing heard during spacewalk scenes isn't a sound effect from an oxygen tank. It's Stanley Kubrick himself. Dissatisfied with recorded breathing from the actors, Kubrick stepped into a sound booth, put on a scuba mouthpiece, and mimicked the deep, echoing breaths he envisioned for astronauts in a vacuum. He then layered and edited these recordings to match the actors' movements on screen. The result is an oddly intimate sound that heightens the tension of space sequences. This personal touch shows just how involved Kubrick was in every aspect of production, right down to the smallest sound effect.
11. Howal was almost Athena, female voice. Before Howal 9000 became the calm, chilling male voice we know, the AI character was originally conceived as Athena, with a female voice. Kubrick even tested several male and female actors, including Nigel Davenport and Martin Balsam, but none felt right. It wasn't until Canadian actor Douglas Rain recorded his dialogue after the filming was complete that Howal's iconic tone was born. Rain's voice was deliberately emotionless yet eerily polite, making Howal's betrayal all the more unsettling. Changing from Athena to Howal 9000 wasn't just the casting choice, it transformed the character into one of the most memorable villains in film history. 12. Howal lip-reading controversy. In one of the film's most suspenseful scenes, Howal reads the lips of astronauts Dave and Frank as they secretly discuss shutting him down. Interestingly, Arthur C. Clarke initially objected to this idea, believing lip reading was too advanced for any computer of the era. But Kubrick, after consulting real experts, discovered that primitive lip-reading technology did exist in the 1960s. This revelation convinced Clarke to keep the scene, which became one of Howal's most sinister moments. It perfectly demonstrated the computer's escalating intelligence and paranoia without a single word being spoken by Hal at that moment. 13. Pink Floyd declined to score. Legendary rock band Pink Floyd was offered the opportunity to compose the score for 2001, but they turned it down. At the time, the band was focused on other projects and didn't see the fit. Years later, Roger Waters admitted it was one of the band's biggest missed opportunities. Ironically, fans have since synced parts of the film's Stargate sequence with Pink Floyd tracks, creating unofficial fan edits that became cult favorites. While the final film's use of classical music is iconic, it's fascinating to imagine an alternate version where Hal's chilling moments were underscored by psychedelic rock. 14. 2000X footage filmed versus final cut. Douglas Trumbull revealed that the team shot nearly 200 times the amount of footage that made it into the final cut. Kubrick filmed endless variations of scenes, experimenting with lighting, camera moves, and special effects. Much of this material was stored in studio vaults for decades. Sadly, Kubrick's perfectionism also meant destroying certain negatives to prevent unfinished work from leaking. Even so, the surviving footage gives us a glimpse into the vast amount of artistry that went into crafting each frame of 2001, making the final product feel like the tip of an enormous creative iceberg. 15. Kubrick burned negatives but lost footage found. Stanley Kubrick had a habit of destroying unused film negatives to prevent studios from re-editing his movies without his approval. This meant many deleted scenes from 2001 were thought to be gone forever. However, in 2010, a remarkable discovery was made. 17 minutes of unseen footage was found in a Kansas salt mine where film reels had been stored for preservation. These scenes include extended shots of the Dawn of Man sequence and additional space station footage. While Kubrick might have preferred they stay lost, the find offers a tantalizing look at what else could have been included. 16. Daisy Bell, first computer song. When Hal begins singing Daisy Bell during his shutdown, it's not a random choice. In 1961, researchers at Bell Labs programmed an IBM 7094 computer to sing Daisy Bell, Bicycle Built for Two, marking the first time a computer ever sang. Arthur C. Clarke witnessed this demonstration during a visit to Bell Labs and was so impressed that he decided to incorporate it into Hal's final moments. The simple, nostalgic tune contrasts hauntingly with the high-tech setting, making Hal's Beth scene one of the most memorable in cinema history. 17. Set designers from NASA. To achieve unmatched realism, Kubrick hired NASA illustrators, engineers, and technical consultants to design spacecraft interiors and equipment. These experts ensured every control panel, switch, and display felt authentic, even if audiences wouldn't consciously notice. The designs were so convincing that some viewers believed Kubrick had access to classified NASA technology. This collaboration not only gave 2001 its realistic look, but also influenced how real spacecraft interiors were designed in the decades that followed. In many ways, the film's vision of the future became a blueprint for actual space exploration. 18. Young audiences and psychedelics saved the box office. When 2001 first hit theaters, reviews were mixed and box office numbers were disappointing, but something unexpected happened. Young audiences, particularly those in the counterculture movement, began flocking to the film, drawn to its trippy visuals and cosmic themes. Many viewers admitted to watching the Stargate sequence under the influence of psychedelics, which transformed the movie into a mind-expanding experience. Word of mouth among this crowd turned the film into a sleeper hit, eventually making it one of MGM's highest-grossing releases of the decade. What started as a slow burn became a cultural phenomenon.